All I have is yours, every single breath. I'll bring you more than a song, for a song in itself is not what you have required. You search much deeper within, though I know from your word you're looking into my heart. I'm coming back to the heart of worship, and it's all about you. It's all about you, Yahusha. I thank you, Yah, for your precious name, and it's all about you. It's all about you, Yahusha. I'm coming back to the heart of worship, and it's all about you. It's all about you, Yahusha. I thank you, Yah, for your precious name, and it's all about you. It's all about you, Yahusha.
Shalom. Shalom, shalom, shalom to friends and family throughout the world. Shalom, shalom, shalom to our friends and family throughout the world. Shalom, shalom to our friends and family throughout the world. Shalom, shalom to all our listeners. How are you doing today? I hope you're fine. Right now it is time for testimony time, and then our guest for today is Sister Stephanie. She will be sharing her testimony with us today on the Righteousness Radio right now. Sister Stephanie, your wife has done something great in her life, and today she will be sharing her testimony with the world. I want you to know that testimony is part of it that encourages others. I want you to listen to her testimony and learn from her own personal life experience. It's time for testimony time. I want you to get ready, get yourself ready, get yourself prepared. We are live on YouTube right now, and then we are live on the radio. You can go direct, you can listen to us through our app or our radio app. You can also listen to us through YouTube by going to our YouTube channel, The Righteousness TV on YouTube. You can go to our YouTube to listen to us live. Right now we'll be connecting with Sister Stephanie. She can start sharing her testimony with us. I just want you to pay attention to her testimony, because her testimony is going to be wonderful and fantastic today. Get ready, because Sister Stephanie, she'll be sharing her testimony with us today. Just get yourself ready. Right now we are live on YouTube. Right now you can engage with us on YouTube. We are said, thank you very much for listening to the Righteousness Radio. We are said for today. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We are coming back. Let's connect with our guest for today. Let's connect with her so she can start sharing her testimony with us. Thank you.
He is able to fill you, for Messiah has creation I bow. I am asking that you be strengthened with power, that you would know the heights, the depths, how wide and how long, though your mind cannot comprehend how great is his love. He is able to fill you exceedingly abundantly above all ages on end.
Hello.
Shalom, sister. How are you doing?
Hello.
Hello, shalom, sister. How are you doing?
Oh, shalom. I can hear you now.
How are you doing?
We are doing well. How are you?
Wow, 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 wow. You are welcome to the Righteousness Radio. Oh, we welcome you, Sister Stephanie. Right now, our listeners has been expecting you because we have told them, we informed them that you'll be sharing your testimony live on the Righteousness Radio today. And right now, we are on YouTube and you are live on the Righteousness Radio. You are welcome, sister. Are you ready to start?
Hallelujah. Thanks so much. Thank you for having me. Did you want me just to start sharing whenever or what?
Yes. It's time for you to start sharing.
Okay. So yeah, I'll start. I feel a little nervous. It's been a long time since I've shared my testimony with anybody. So it's quite a long testimony, and I'm praying that the Ruach HaKodesh will put His words in my mouth. Okay, so my testimony starts. Satan, I guess you could say that you know that you're chosen. I didn't know that I was chosen until, just recent, like maybe a few years ago even. But, and I never understood why I had so much warfare in my life. And this is going all the way back to how Satan came for me in my mother's womb. With abandonment and the spirit of rejection, because my biological father and my stepdad, the only father that I ever knew, was verbally abusive. So that's where we're starting out. So basically, Satan has been trying to kill me my whole life. He started out there. I grew up with the spirit of rejection. With my parents both being alcoholics, at drinking at the time, and verbally abusive. Fear came in with trauma, and my dad would come home. He would go to work every day. He was out. He would, but then come home and just yell all night at me and my brother. And it was just me, my brother, and my mom. My mom drank too, and they would fight all night, and it was like a war zone. So we always lived in fear of how my dad was going to come home, and my brother and I became really close, and we would sleep in the same room because my dad would literally come to our bedroom and stand at the doorway and just say things all night, and sometimes we would even miss school. There was one time face, and that is when she never picked up another drink after that. She was really hurt by that. So after all of that, I'm growing up. My parents had a best friend of the family that I came to trust. The whole family did, not knowing this man was an evil person. They allowed him in the home, and he did some really bad things to me. I know that probably many of us, I don't know if you've ever had to deal with a molestation or anything else like that, but this man that we grew close to, violated my trust. One night my parents went to sleep, and my mom used to always come in and tickle my back, and he said, "Oh, I'll do it." And my parents had already gone to sleep, and I'll leave out the details, but he he came in my room, and anyways, I ran into my parents' room to tell him what happened, and the pain of my father, because he never protected me really. He didn't even get up to go and do anything to that man. He said, "We'll deal with it tomorrow," and to go back to sleep. And I was like, how can I go to sleep? So that was like on top of all the rejection, and you know what I mean? Like, he never told me he loved me. He never gave me hugs. He never said I love you. He never said I was worth anything. He always like spoke word curses on me. It was really hard. So this is like all the things that were like happening to me growing up. And then at the age of 15, I'll never forget, I had a best friend, and we were in junior high and going to school there, and her mom and my mom, because she was my neighbor, were best friends. And my best friend heard my mom, her mom, you know, talking one night. They had been drinking, and said, I guess that my dad wasn't my real dad, right? So I had no idea at the time. I always knew something was wrong growing up because my father treated my brother better than me. I knew something wasn't right. I was like, why is this? He doesn't love me. Like, I had perfectionism so bad. I was trying to do everything to get him, earn his love. And I was never able to receive it because there was none. So she had overheard my mom and her mom talking that my dad wasn't my real dad. And she decided to go to junior high, the school that we went to, told everybody there. Like, I was pretty popular in school and had a lot of friends. So when I got to school that day and got off the school bus, everybody had already known about it and came up to me. And that's how I found out my dad wasn't my real dad. And they said, hey, we heard this. And I was like, what are you talking about? You know? And so I said, who did you hear this from? And they told me who it was. It was my best friend, Devin. And so I was so upset that day. I skipped school all day looking for her. You know, like back in the day, I mean, what did we do? We fought. So I was like ready to fight this girl. I was so upset, literally heartbroken. And I rode the school bus home that day. And when I got off the school bus, my mom was outside the yard. And I asked my mom, hey, you know, is dad my real dad? And she didn't even have to like answer me with anything. She stopped spraying. She was watering the plants, and her reaction, she stopped watering the plants. And I knew right then that it was true. And so I was 15, and I had already been dealing with all that stuff I was telling you about before. So that really like was like the nail in the coffin for me of what happened to me in my life, because I was so heartbroken and became so angry and so hurt that I literally rebelled against, I don't have to listen to you, you're not my dad, you know, and because he was abusive, and the way he treated me, I was just like, I'm not doing it anymore. I was so hurt that literally my life it was like an open door for the spirit of rebellion to come in. You had disobedience, pride would come in, like all of these things that come in with trauma and everything else. So that led me off into a lifestyle of like just wanting to hang out and have fun and party and skip school. And that's what I did. I used to go out. We used to go out on the weekends and go out in the groves, and we would have campfires, and we would go out to the clubs on the weekends, and, you know, we would stay out all hours of the night, and sometimes I would not even go home. I mean, it just became, you know, it was many, many years of partying like that. So I was out there, you know, with a broken heart, trying to fill this void of wanting to be loved. You know, I was really accepted by my school friends and stuff like that. I had a lot of friends. I was friends with everybody. But I still was like allowing the wrong people in my life to treat me any old way. I didn't know, you know what I mean? You're like looking for a boyfriend or someone to love you, and you know, just from the childhood that you had, you're allowing people to treat you in a poor way. So let me just go on to the next spot, because I don't want to ramble on. I try to make let's see. Okay, so we got past that. Stop listening to me. Okay. Yeah, so I started hanging out with the wrong crowd, got into partying, dancing, drinking, etc., staying out all night. That led to many other things in my life. I had several addictions. And at one point, I had a car crash and was almost flown out. I was a manager at Body Shop. The Body Shop, it was a women's clothing store. And I was 21, and I started managing there. And there was, you know, in the mall, we started we would go down to Fridays afterward, after we got off work. And we had a few margaritas one night down there, and I had my mom's blazer with me, brand new blazer. I decided that I wasn't going to drive because I was really worried. I didn't want to do that. So we went and I sat out in the parking lot for like 3 hours. I don't know. You know what I mean? I sat there for a long time until I was okay. And I'm driving. I go to, go home or whatever. Then there was 2 officers in an unknown vehicle. It was policemen that had been drinking, and they ran into me. And I literally, it flipped mom's blazer and totaled it, and I almost was ejected out of the window, and I should have been dead that day. And it was like I came out with not even a scratch. Like I only had some glass that had went into my face from the window busting. And then when they did the investigation of everything, that's how I'm able to tell you it was 2 officers, because they had been drinking at a restaurant. Because I had sat long enough to wait until I wasn't under the influence of anything anymore. Waited long enough for any type of thing to wear off. I knew better than to get in the car and drink and drive at that point. So that right there is a testimony of how he had his hand on me my whole life. So ever since my childhood, like in the womb, and then that, and then I said that it had led to other addictions. At one point, I was partying, and there was some stuff at this house, and I said, okay, they said, how much do you want? I was like, I'll try it. I tried it. I ended up overdosing. And I didn't know that I did at that point. When I woke up the next day, they said that you died. They said you died. And I was like, what? I was like, how? I had no idea. And at that point, he saved me again. And I was living a life of rebellion. I didn't even know him the way that I know him now. And, lots of partying. I would just say lots of partying. There was another time where I was in, another situation partying, and there was extreme warfare going on around me. This was before I even knew about demons. And I heard the Father tell Satan, she is mine. This is the only time I ever heard his voice audible, and the warfare that was going on around me, like everything snapped and the spiritual realm broke, and it was peaceful, and it was almost like I became sober just like that. And I was like on my face in tears and crying and crying out to him to help me, because I couldn't do this without him. And so there's that. And then, there was a slip and fall I had. Now, this is another way the enemy came at me. I do believe it was an accident spirit, because my mom had the same thing happen to her. She had ended up falling down the stairs at work, and she hurt her back really bad to where she had to go on workman's comp. They put her on a bunch of pain meds. Well, after all of that happened to her, I was at a restaurant working, and then I ended up having a slip and fall. Same thing happened to me. I hurt my back really bad, and they put me on a bunch of pain meds. So I ended up, for many years of being on pain meds before you ever knew they were bad, or that doctors were not, you know what I mean? You can't trust Pharmacia or Babylon or anything else like that. You end up truly addicted to pain meds. So I was on pain meds for a long time, not even knowing that it was a bad thing to do. Later, I was like, I don't want to be on the pain meds anymore, and the doctors had convinced me to take Suboxone. So I'm taking Suboxone now it was probably 7 years. The doctor diagnosed me with anxiety as well, said you need to take which was it was I don't know, it's not a narcotic, but it was an anxiety pill, which was very, very addicting. And so I had that going on. And then a little while later in my life, both my parents ended up sick, and because they had an addiction to cigarettes, they both had COPD. They passed away. My mom was like my best friend. She passed away in 2016. Then my dad was 2 years later, And all the while, all this stuff is, I mean, it was just one thing. I mean, I was in a warfare my whole life. So then I remember, you know, the Father had delivered me off of so many things. The only thing that I was having a hard time stopping was drinking. And I had stopped for a little bit. And then when my dad passed away, after my mom, it was like, it was so hard. You know, I was all alone. I was in my parents' house that, you know, both my parents had passed. My brother was gone with his wife. My son was very little at that time. I was alone in my parents' house. It was really rough, and I had nobody. When I was drinking, and I remember being alone one night on my bedroom floor, or actually it was in my parents' room because I was really going through it, and crying out to him and saying, you know, don't you care about me? You know, I can't do this. You know, I just can't handle my life. This is like, I was literally heartbroken. So, hold on. So a little while later, I would say maybe like a day or two, like, mind you, I have never been to church. I had never been to church, right? In my life, you know, my mom was Lutheran. My dad was, you know, Catholic, but that's religion. That was not the Father. So, you know, we would maybe go to Sunday school growing up. And so after I had that experience on my bedroom floor, somebody had invited me out of the blue to go to this church. And I was like, no, I didn't want to be around anybody, because I was not around anybody in a long time. I didn't want to be around people at a church, and I was just all nervous and didn't want to go. And so they finally talked me into going. And when I was there, I guess they had a special speaker there, and he was a prophet, you know, so he said, and you know, I was sitting there and I was just trying to receive whatever was there, you know, because I wanted to turn my life around. And the man was like, somebody in this room, or somebody here has a broken heart. And I immediately knew he was talking to me. And I was just like, oh my gosh. I was like, he's going to do this. And I was getting so nervous. My face was getting all hot. And my heart started racing. And I was like, I'm not going up there. I'm not going to the front. And so I just thought maybe there was somebody else there and he would move past me. And no, he didn't. He just kept on going. And so by this time, because I had my brother there, his wife, and then my son's father was there at the time. And everybody was looking at me like, you know, you need to go up there. And I was like, no. So anyways, finally I go up there. And like, before I could even get to for anybody to even lay hands on me or anything, it was like I was knocked down to the ground. When I was down there, I don't even know how long, but when I got up, I knew that I had been changed, like instantly. He set me on fire. He delivered me of alcoholism. He had taken all the pain out of my heart from my father's rejection, and I had bitterness. I had so much hurt in there from my father, that it was gone out of my heart, like just plucked out. It was like I was accelerated in the spirit. He gave me discerning of spirits. My eyes were opened, the veil was lifted. That night I was convicted. When I went home, I was convicted of all of my sin. I was listening to like worldly music. I had my son's father living at my house, and we were not married or anything. And I was like, he's got to get out. We can't live together. We can't be within each other anymore. I was like writing scriptures all night and stayed up, you know, in the Word, and had scriptures like going all over my house. And I was just like, it was amazing. I was delivered. And so I didn't know, you know, that night, like he basically was showing me that all my problems in my life were from demons. And I had no idea that demons even existed at that time until he showed me, and that you could be delivered of all these things that literally the enemy tried to take you out with. So I was all excited. I was like, because I still had Klonopin and this Suboxone going on. And I was like, if he can do that, he can do this. And literally, that's exactly what he did. The 7-year Suboxone addiction, I was like, I had already started cutting myself down because I hated it. I didn't want to be on it. I couldn't stand sticking stuff into my body. Like, he was already working on me. Like, I didn't want to be on anything. So I cut myself down to like a very small amount. and really wasn't even taking the stuff that I was prescribed anymore. And I was just trying to cut back. And at one point, I said, "That's it." I said, I'm done." I said, "I'm throwing this away." I had a big stack of medicine. I threw it in the garbage, and that was it. And I had people praying for me at the church. And 3 days, 7 years addiction, plus the pain pills before that, he had me delivered. It was supernatural, completely delivered. There was no side effects. I didn't go through withdrawals. I didn't get sick. Now that one was gone out of my life, so there goes alcoholism, there goes that. And so now I was like, we're going all the way. Now I went off of this sleeping pill. So anyways, that was a little bit harder. It took me some time to get off that because it was a benzo. I don't know if it's a benzo. I don't remember the classification of what that was, but it was like really hard. It really affected your mind. I can't even believe that we listen to doctors, for so long, thinking that they're trying to help us when all this stuff is demons. You cast it out. You're taking a pill all the while, trying to fix. It doesn't fix anything. You got to get to the root, cast it out, and you receive healing right from the Father. So anyway, that one wasn't as easy. I ended up going into like a 7-day detox to get off of that. And that was done though. I went into the 7-day detox. I got off of that. So anyways, I off of everything. So ever since that was 2017. Now, the church that I was at, right? I was going to the church for like 2 years. Then he starts showing me that, I love this place. But then he started showing me that, pointing things out to me that the church I was at was not very good and couldn't be trusted. And but that's when he started calling me out of Avalon, I want to say. Because when you find out that the churches of right now, they're 501c3, they're owned by Freemasons, they don't teach correct doctrine. And he started waking me up. He started showing me about hand signs, symbols, and that the presidents, were Freemasons, and the news is a lie. Literally everything we've ever believed in this world is a lie. And he called me out of the church that I was in. He knew how much I loved it, but he let me stay there for 2 years until he started showing me witchcraft, the Freemasons, and started having me pray against that stuff that was going on in the church. And that went on, and then I kept saying, well, am I crazy? The stuff that he was showing me, and I would go home and pray some more, and he would continue to show me. And so it was like, okay, you know what I mean? Like I had so many confirmations that what he was showing me was correct, that okay, he was calling me out of the church. So I left the church, and the churches tell you that you're not submitted unto him unless you're submitted unto them, which is, and that literally, and these churches are like a cult. You if you leave the church building, you're literally not a part of the, you know what I mean? They act like they love you, but then when you leave the church, you're no longer part of the family. Nobody calls to check on you. That's it. You have to attend this organization. I remember going to church, and we would have prayer there often and walk around these circles, right? We would walk around in a circle and pray. And I remember the Holy Spirit, Ruach HaKodesh, tell me, I heard this is a cult. And I was like, oh, wow. And that was something I had went home and prayed about. So I went home and prayed, and I said, is this true? And I just am I crazy for hearing that? Anyways, this went on for a while. He showed me all about the presidents of the Freemasons. And so he was removing lies, leading me closer and closer to his truth. So then it was about the pagan holidays, right? Christmas was my favorite. I did never like Halloween, but he showed me Halloween was bad. And I said, well, if Halloween was bad, I said, they all must be bad. And I was because there was a scripture in Jeremiah about the trees. And I was like, I don't want to get rid of Christmas. But I did some research on it. And sure enough, Christmas is just as evil as Halloween. And so when I found out how bad it was, I went up in my attic and I got all my Christmas stuff out right then and there. And we threw it outside the door. That was it. We never went back. So he started showing me about his feasts. And, I was like, no wonder Satan creates these holidays, right? I learned about holidays, it's named after a spirit, like holy days, holidays. So anyways, he starts teaching me about his feasts and led me to keep those. And so I was keeping those, and then, they keep Sunday Sabbath. So I learned about the Saturday. So I started doing that. And then he was, I used to eat pig, and then all of a sudden I stopped liking it. Like I just was turned off by it. Come to find out it was in the Torah, and you're not supposed to eat it. It's, in the book of Isaiah, he says that he's going to destroy those who eat it when he comes back. So I was like doing all of these things without even realizing I was even following his Torah. And it was all just the desires that he had put inside my heart. And I absolutely loved everything about, his hit from the beginning to the end. Like the churches teach, the New Testament, we're just supposed to do, everybody says, oh, that's the Old Testament. I'm like, he's the beginning and the end. He's the same yesterday, today, and always. So I don't know I never could understand how they could say those things, right? And another thing that he was showing me is that, okay, the earth was flat. So the earth is flat. And I mean, that's another indoctrination thing that these schools teach. And so he just kept leading me into truth. And so finally I was like, okay, because there was a lot of hate on Torah keepers, right? And so finally I was like, okay, well, I guess I am. If this is what keeping the Sabbath, celebrating his feast, coming out of Babylon, you're eating clean, you want to be obedient. I guess that's Torah. Okay, I guess that's what I am. You can put me in that classification. And then it was about, okay, I want to say maybe last year sometime is when he gave me a dream about his real name. And I was one of those people that said, I'll never stop saying the name of JC. I don't know if anybody else is listening on here that said, Jesus. But anyways, everything that happened to me was done in that name, and all of these amazing miracles happened. So I was really disappointed when to find out about the LORD and the GOD being in our Bibles, and they changed our Bibles. And you're saying these things for so long, and so, anyways, I prayed for like a year and a half, and I said, I can't call you by the wrong name. I really wanted to get it right. And so a year and a half of praying, seeking him, he gave me a dream. And in my dream, I saw his name, his son's name written, Yahuwah and Yahusha. And, this is basically it. I kept a lot of it out. You know what I'm saying? Like in my testimony, I didn't want to go into every detail, but this is what he did for me. And this is where I've come from, where I showed you and how all the things that has happened to me my whole life, and how he's delivered. I had to walk through warfare, and I still am dealing with, you know what I mean? Like Satan doesn't like the ones that get off. He never liked me since the beginning, but, now when you're following him for real and you're, desiring to be obedient, I know we all know that, we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers and stuff like that. So I think that's about it.
Oh, sister, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Wow. That is wonderful. Sister Stephanie, can you hear me very well? Can you hear me?
I'm sorry?
Can you hear me very well? Can you hear me? Can you listen to me? Can you hear me?
Can I hear you? Yes.
Yes. Sister Stephanie, your testimony is great. Seriously.
Thank you.
What a wonderful testimony. I personally have a lot of questions for you. Because out of what you said, I also experienced it. I want to give you some clues, some keys of lives about you yourself. I want you to know that you are a peculiar person. Oh, you face abandonment from your father. See, everything you face in life, Yahweh knows about it. It has purpose. I'm telling you. It has purpose. Oh, because once you face a lot of people, are facing it. A lot of kids. I also face it. I face abandonment from my father. Can you hear me? Hello, sister, are you there? Hello, are you there? Oh, are you there, sister? Are you there, sister? Are you there? Sister,
I can hear you.
Yes. You share a great testimony. Wow, a great testimony. A wonderful testimony.
Yes, thank you.
Yes. Let me tell you something. How do you manage? I'll be the first person to ask you a question. Can you see how Yahweh brought you and introduced himself to you? I'm telling you, sister Stephanie, I'm telling you, you are a true servant of Yahweh. I'm telling you the reality. You are a true servant. Yahweh want to use you. Truly. Sister,
Yes, hallelujah.
I want to ask you a question. How do you manage? How do you manage to cope with all those scenarios, all those abandonments? How do you manage? That's my question for me, myself. How do you manage? How do you manage?
How do I manage?
Yes, how do you manage to cope with abandonment from the beginning of your life till now? How do you manage?
Yeah. To be him, it all has to be him, because I look back on my life and all that I've endured, and told you that he had his hand on me before I even realized that he did. And then the attack that I had with the enemy, and literally his voice. I mean, he loves us so much that even when I was in rebellion to him, that is when I heard him audibly tell Satan that Satan was not allowed to do what he was doing to me. And I heard it, and it was like, she is mine. Like Satan was literally trying to come for my soul. And the Father rebuked Satan. And you know what I mean? So it was him. It was like, he watches over us. He is my strength, because I literally could not do this without him. It is not even of myself. It's all praise to him.
Yes. Yes. Sister, let me tell you. There's a question. People are talking on WhatsApp right now. A lot of people are discussing about your testimony right now. So let me start calling them. Are you ready to take a question? Are you ready?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, now family. Right now, Sister Stephanie is ready to take question. Yeah, let's keep typing our question. Let's keep typing. Oh. Can you see? Sister Stephanie, do you have access to your WhatsApp?
Yes, I have the WhatsApp.
Okay, do you have access to it? If you can open it right now, you're able to see messages, question, and then do you have access to it? Go to our platforms.
Look on what? Hold on. I'm trying to see here. Let's see. Okay. You can read questions. Here, wait. Okay.
Sister Angel.
Look on WhatsApp group.
Sister Angel is the first person. Sister Angel.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Check Sister Angel question. She said, what will you say to adults about how to counsel a child or teen who might be going through abuse? What? Can you see all those things? Can you see Sister Angel question?
I'm having a hard time understanding.
Okay.
Hold on one second.
Okay.
Let me just see if I can. Let me just see. What would you say adults? What would you say to adults on? Okay, so are you asking angels? Okay, so what would you say to how to counsel a child or teen who might be going through abuse about Yahuwah's love, to draw them to him so that they can have hope in him despite the things they are experiencing in this world? What would you say to the adults about how to counsel? Okay, what would I say? Well, first of all, for an adult, you would have to be fully submitted to the Father to be able to counsel, right? Because we, as parents, are supposed to protect our children. So if we are not walking with the Ruach HaKodesh, and we don't know his commandments, and we don't know the word, and we're not living right, it's very, very hard to raise a child, because that's how I was raised. I was raised in an environment where my parents weren't serving the Father. And you know, that's when demons are allowed to enter into your life, and that's when havoc. When the parent opens the door, the demons go to the children also. So I would say that you need to be fully submitted unto the Father, and living obedient and living a set apart holy life, and trying to please Him above all else. And how they counsel? Well, we would need the Ruach to do it, right? So we have the 7 spirits through the Ruach. I would say that we would always need to lean on the Word, right? Prayer, fasting, reading the Word to your child, teaching them the Word, being firm with your boundaries, but also, and get, because the Father is loving and patient with us. So if a child, let's see, abuse about Yahuwah's love. So yes, Yahuwah is long suffering. He is love. Like I said with my testimony, He was there in my weaknesses when I was not even aware He was really there, and that the problems in my life are all from the enemy. So so they can have hope in Him despite the things. Well, you have to have a relationship so you can have hope.
Yes. Okay, you can go to the next question for Brother Tuli. He said, why did He pick you? This is a question for Brother Tuli. People are typing, check it. Sister Christine also has a question.
Why did he pick?
Yes.
Oh, why did he pick you?
Yes.
I don't know. I'm nobody, right? I don't know. The Father, I believe that, and I don't know how everybody feels about this, but there is in Romans 8, He was teaching me, some of us are predestined. He has us, the ones that He's chosen from the foundations of the earth, I believe, because you don't even know. Satan knows. We're all born with a calling. We're all born with an assignment, and we're all born to do things specifically for His kingdom. So we each have a part of the body to bring. We each have to do. Some are teachers, counselors, evangelists. They flow in prophecy, right? They have a gift of prophecy. They know where we are in the timeline. Like He's given us eyes to see, right? Because the world, we look around right now, we don't know why people can't see what's going on. They're like sound asleep. But we're like, hey, this is
Wow. Oh, what's going on? Oh.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yahusha is the Torah. So I believe the ones that have also been chosen love.
Oh.
So we have a desire to want to be obedient.
Yes.
We don't reject Him, right? The Babylonian churches, they don't receive all of Him. They say, oh, that's Old Testament. We don't do that now. But see, I was always like, why? Like, if He is the beginning and the end, the Alpha, the Omega, the Aleph and the Top, how do we not want to obey Him and all of Him? Like, if we're going to keep, because they want to keep their pagan holidays. How do you want to keep a holiday by Satan that is evil? I've given you proof, but you don't want to celebrate the Father's feast. See, I believe He does this for us. Like, He's the one that gives us these desires. So I can't tell you why I was chosen. And only He could answer that. And, you know what I mean? I'm nothing without Him. So I feel, honored to have been given an opportunity to be an end times witness and a messenger to share the truth in love and to lead people to the truth,
Yes. Okay, you can go to the next question.
Okay.
Sister Christy. That is a question from Sister Christy.
I see. Do you believe that Hashatan tries to kill, steal, and destroy those who belong to Yahuwah from the beginning? Absolutely. Satan knows who we are before we do. That's why he has assignments against us. And that's why he came for me in my mother's womb. Like, that's what I'm saying. I come out with, you know what I mean? My father rejected me right there. That's a spirit of rejection that comes into the womb right there. So you're born with a spirit of rejection. So you really, and And then you get perfectionism, and then you're trying to learn what love is. And see, I'm still trying to learn the Father's love because I had that spirit that I dealt with my whole life, and this spirit will try to ruin everything in your life and steal everybody away and cause everybody to reject you, so you never, can receive love from another human being. So it's something very serious. It needs to be your mind renewed. You need to get deliverance, obviously. But yeah, I do believe Satan knows.
Wow.
Essie's question.
Yes. That's
Okay. If you struggle with your child believing, that pagan holidays are pagan, what can you do to help them? Also, if they have a co-parent who thinks these holidays are okay. Okay. If you struggle with the child believing that pagan. Well, first of all, so what I do with my son, what we did, and this, my son was really cool about it because we loved Christmas like big time, and I was like, I don't want to give it up. So what I did with the research that I was finding, because when you discover something, you pray, Father, lead me into all truth. I don't care if it hurts, right? That was my thing. Even if it's going to hurt me, I just want the truth. It doesn't matter because I love the truth. So when he was revealing things to me about Christmas, I would literally show my son the same thing. I believe that, the videos that I found about Christmas, and I would make him sit down and watch these things with me. And my son was at a younger age, like he wasn't I think he's 12 now. So 2018 is when we stopped our last Christmas. So he was but the child has been doing this longer, I think it might be a little bit more of a struggle. My son saw the videos with me